The perspective that I would like to bring out of this session is what a CFO strives and drives for. And you will see this theme going across all the slides that we talk about. Gone are the days where the CFO was talked only as the person who is responsible for accounting. Today, a CFO, if he doesn't have a business acumen, if he is not somebody who is actively engaged in business, more from the point of view of facilitating it, or from the point of view of supporting it to take it to the next level, his days are numbered. So what the CFO today strives for is maximizing value to the stakeholders through leveraging organizational resources. We all have seen the tough times that have been there for the last 5 years, 6 years, starting 2007 when the Lehman Brothers started. The resources are limited. We have to ensure that there is optimal utilization of resources. Cost is something that is driving our lives these days. You know, a lot of things that were thought earlier from the perspective of pure business are now seen through the lens of cost. And yet, driving through the value proposition and supporting organizational strategies and objectives. So what you see on the picture, I picked this picture very carefully. It's a very tough balance that the CFO has to drive. He has to drive the growth. He has to balance himself through the ups and downs, more on the ups than the downs. And still he has to carry the money back for the company. And it's interesting how this can be done. Let me quickly talk about what happened at Quatrro. We started our business sometime in 2007 because that's the time when our commercial operations started. If one is to look back, probably we started right at the time when the recession was beginning. So not the best of the times to start the business. We are today 6 businesses, which includes organic, 3 acquisitions, and 1 carve-out. It's a fairly mixed bucket that we are talking about. We have a multi-geographical acquisition model, which came through inherent F&A and other support functions, and there was IT infrastructure. So what am I dealing with? I'm dealing with a fairly heterogeneous environment, and an environment which has multiple finance and accounts teams, multiple support functions, HR functions, IT investment. Each of these companies came with their own IT investment. And my challenge is that I have a set of resources which I need to optimize. And last but not the least, this period was also marked with the business risk and uncertainties. You're a startup company. You don't have too much funds. So what is Quatrro today? Quatrro today is a 6 business aggregation. What you see around the circle. We use 3 things as core to our business strategy. One is we use domain specific areas. So technical support, financial processing, mortgage, processing services, interactive entertainment, knowledge services. We use technology as our main backbone. We have done in our past, and just to give a background, I was part of the SpectrumMind team which led the so-called third-party call-centric business in India, which got commoditized by the time we came to 2005. What was the next level of evolution? The next level of evolution was use technology and throw in non-linearity in the business. To just give you a flavor of this, when we left SpectrumMind, we were 16,584 people. Our top line at that point of time was $150 million. This is 2005. Today we are close to $80 million as our top line, and we are just 3,500 people. So we can do the maths. How this has been possible? We've used technology. And all this time when the cloud computing was the buzzword for the last 2.5, 3 years, if we look back, 2006 when we started the business, or rather we started thinking through what we want to do, cloud computing was embedded in our model. So when I do technical support services, I provide services to B2C, B2B client, IT help desk, managed service, desktop service support through cloud. There are people who are working out of India providing services to the clients who are based out of US, Middle East, or Europe. We do finance and accounting. This is hardcore cloud computing. We do the accounting work for SMB clients based out of US. Mortgage, we provide end-to-end services from a loan processing to loan review, post-closing services, default management, underwriting. All this is on a platform. We have that one carve-out that we talk over here is a platform that we acquired in the mortgage space. Processing services, here we do card processing services. We do product design, underwriting, fulfillment, risk management through analytics expert solutions, where we have our own platforms and products that are used. So let me give an example without giving out the name. One of the leading banks out of US today has a captive in India, which has a very strong presence, close to 5,000 people, but they have a small shop of 500 people working out of Quatrro, where we do their credit card approvals. So if a credit card is swiped in the US and at the merchant point it is somewhere felt that maybe this card is compromised, the call lands at Quatrro office to check whether it is a compromised card or it's a false positive. So that's the high end where a platform has been used. And how do we do that? We don't have all the knowledge, but there is a platform that keeps on pulling data about the customer movement, about his travel and other things, and tells us this card is compromised, hotlisted or not. Interactive entertainment, here we do game testing, and knowledge services, which is perhaps one of the most interesting part when it comes to content management. Here we have doctors, engineers and lawyers sitting out of our Chennai office, where they do for scientific, technical and medical publication work, they do content management abstraction from the net. And it's not a Google search. They have dedicated engines that have been developed in-house. These are our own patented platforms which pull out the data. So large pharma companies based out of US and Europe, business which is into, let's say, technical help desk space. The requirement out there is to analyze the data that comes out and be smarter on our business campaigns. But a business which is already, established, the accounting needs are high. So not at every time I would need the same skill set. So what it allowed us was the demanding business, finance and accounting environment was met. We acquired company in UK, we acquired company in Canada, in US. So there was a multi-country and location model, and I came with a different. We had some 4 entities in. We still have some 4 entities in Singapore, where there is IFRS, there is IGAP, and there is US GAAP. So the challenge that sits with the finance department is to create one consolidated financial statement on a monthly basis, because my investors required a management report on a monthly basis. They were not okay with the fact that when I give a monthly management report and I do my annual accounts, there's a difference. So I had to do a monthly roll-up which matched to my annual accounts. And the acquired entities came with different accounting platforms. They came with different policies. So the policies were different, whether it's employee benefit, stock option policies, the policies which depreciation policies, and all other policies were different. So they had to be harmonized, and there was a need for support on business analytics. How did we accomplish this? We created a shared service center. So today we have close to 45 people in a shared service center in Gurgaon who do the work for common leadership. That means everything rolls into one finance head. His neck is on the block. But what it allows us is that what we have created is a factory model. So instead of each business having its own AP team, I have one AP team which takes care of accounts payable of all the businesses. Their day's job is just doing APs. But how technology has helped me is these guys use the same desktop and they have a multi-tenancy license from SAP. So they run it on to say, I can log into Quatrro Global Services account, which is our ultimate holding company. Then I can go to mortgage. Then I can go to other businesses. The advantage from a finance head point of view is at the end of the month, there are no intercompany reconciliations. It's the same guy who's doing this. He cannot say that the guy sitting in US did not forward me the results for the month. He is one guy who is responsible for this. So a factory model has been created with focus teams. There's a multi-country model which has been, what we did was, because of the acquisitions, we had to harmonize the inputs. So the UIs, we created a system called QPort. QPort is again our own platform where we have used technology, where there is a harmonized system wherein a same screen is used across all the business, where the information is uploaded, and the processing at the back end is the same. So the chart of accounts harmonization, the harmonization of cost centers automatically came in place, and my MIS was automatically in a uniform fashion. This could have been accomplished only through a shared service center. If I had gone for individual centers, it would have been a huge challenge for us. Then when we acquired these companies, one company came with Great Plains. It also used MAS 200, by the way, in one of our sub businesses. There's a Dynamics, there's an SAP, there's a Tally, ERP. So diverse models. What do? We use technology to create bolt-on platforms. A bolt-on solution is something that makes one solution talk to the other by creating a smart conduit in between. And this helped us creating the policy and reporting harmonization. The last but not the least, because it's a shared service center and I have various verticals defined, there's an SMB or a retail vertical, the practices of a CRM, customer, SLA, ops matrices can be easily used as best practices between various businesses for us. So there is better analytics to the business. As a result, the integration and reporting alignments facilitated through platform and shared service center setup. So first was finance and accounts. Let's briefly touch upon HR. On HR side, we had a multi-business and location model. We acquired different companies. They were different skill sets. I talked about different businesses. So the skill sets that sit in a mortgage business are very different than what there are in the finance and account business. So we had to create a harmonized model for their career development and skill set pooling. There was a policy and a procedure harmonization. There was a bandwidth and appraisal process and skill retention that we had to do. And all this was done through, again, creating a common HRMS platform, talent pool assessment, common database, and common appraisal system. So technology used, I've heard the book, just 5 minutes. On the technology and telecom side, what we created was site-based technology teams were there as we got. Each of the company came with their own technology setup. They came with their own server farms, point of presence. The investments were spread thin. We had multiple point of presences with each of the businesses. The customer SLAs were based on bandwidth. So if my customer says, I need a 8 meg pipe, we will go and buy 8 meg pipe. The next customer says, I need 10 meg pipe, we'll go and have 18 meg pipe over there. That doesn't make sense to me. They were archaic systems we inherited. These were companies which were old in the business. So what we created was a consolidation of leadership at one place where we started doing remote monitoring and creating dashboards. We also did a strategic alignment of our technology architecture and plans. So there's a common backbone that works, which is leveraged through existing capacity and hardware investment. We also utilize bandwidth-based resources. So now we are again using utilization-based to look at the peaks and troughs and come with the bandwidth utilization. The platforms that were being used are managed through diverse businesses for resource needs. Enterprise licenses were negotiated. So we we have a ex-Avaya colleague sitting over here. So we had negotiated a large platform, large enterprise license, and we leveraged it across the business. So economies of scale kicked in. So long and short, what this allowed us to do was, it allowed us to focus on cost, transformation, led value proposition alone will not help. What we did was, we created diversified businesses which can be serviced through common setup. Businesses scale with minimal capital and overhead investments, reducing total cost of ownership for us, better offerings to the customers through shared cost models, and leveraging and cross-utilization of resources across businesses and acquired entities. Any questions I can answer at this stage?
You mentioned always that to leverage the different aspects of the operations, you leverage the software with respect to the utilization of the hardware and resources. So for these, you must have developed the software, so you must have buy the software. You right now started with developing in-house, or how it evolved with the time or something like that?
We used a mixed bag over there. There were certain freewares available. We also used certain other softwares which we paid for, like a SQL software or others. And on that we created our solutions. So the backbones were picked up from the outside, and on that we started customization.
So was it really a good cost initially in the initial phase?
It has paid us well till now. At least what we have enjoyed till now is that you can brutally use it across the organizations. You don't have to worry about, do I need to enter into a separate partnership agreement or anything else. These are your own, you hold the source key for them. And it allows you to use them over a longer period of time. Since you understand it so well, the customization effort is very easy for you. You don't end up reaching out to a partner to say, come and help me customize it. You customize it and realize the business comes back and say, hey, I don't agree with this. Your ability to change the wheels on a moving truck is much better.
One specific question, if you don't want to answer, don't answer. how much might be the initial investment before the seed fund or something?
It was varied. It was varied. I can't give you a number on that, but it was very varied. Just one question on this side.
From a partnership perspective, I think very nice session in terms of seeing probably that you cross the maturity curve in terms of seeing where you stand. I think what would be your message to vendor like be it IR, be it BT, in terms of where this value probably how should we be aligned with you and you being in turn with the customers. So what would be next 2 years or 4 years where partners like BT or an OEM community to demonstrate that value which you are in turn showing to your customers. So what would be some key message for us from a vendor community?
See, Deepak, the way I look at it is one of the critical things that have been observed in the last 1.5 years is that the role of partner has been enhanced to not only a supplier or a vendor, he has to be a collaborator when it comes to understanding the business strategy and the technology strategy of the company. Till the time there is complete transparency and understanding between the vendor and the buyer is not there, what is the end objective cannot be accomplished. So today, when I look at my vision of a certain technology investment, the best thing that comes to me, okay, let me talk it from my window. When today a technology person comes to me and gives me a certain proposition, he doesn't give me a 1 year or 2 year horizon. He almost has to integrate it with my company's strategy, our overall objectives, and thus the ROI for us in the next 2 or 3 years. So what really appeals to a CFO or a finance head is the ROI number, because that number is what he will be able to roll into his calculations and justify the cost. So that can be worked out only when there is a collaborative effort between the partner. So partner in the true sense is what I'm looking.